Excited, getting ready to play a game again at home. Texas is a really good team, and excited to bring them to Tucson. And this is actually the return of a return game of a couple years ago from Erie. So it's been a long time to return, but happy we're finally doing that because it's going to be a good, exciting game.
Impressive about the way they've been able to build their program and get to number 5 this year.
Well, we knew they were going to build their program. Texas is the hotbed for players, so you can recruit in your backyard. Vic's a great coach. They have every resource there, so we knew they were going to be good. It was just a matter of time. They have some talented players, and like Rory, their point guard, is an in-state kid, so they have some really good in-state talent, and just she's a beast. But I think besides her, there's a lot of good players around her, so it's going to be a fun game.
Have you told your players anything about the last time you played? Just so they know, there's not much history, but that's big history for the program.
Yeah, no, we really haven't talked about it a lot, just because the only player left from that team is Helena. So honestly, haven't really even talked about it because these games come fast and everything comes so fast. So just kind of the preparation is all we've talked about.
What's the scout on Texas?
Well, Texas is really good in transition. Well, first of all, really good defensively. They like to turn you over and score in transition. Really good offensive rebounding. And just, they're one of the few teams in the country that's excellent in the mid-range game. And that's really rare. If you look at most teams, you're not allowed to take mid-range shots because it's the lowest percentage shot in basketball. You would take threes or layups. And they are really good at mid-range. They take a lot of them, but they're efficient. And if you look at the analytics and stuff, so that's hard. And Rory has an incredible mid-range game. She'll be an All-American, but she's hard to guard because she goes downhill and she rises up. So, and that's usually when you defend against pick and rolls and different things, you're usually giving that mid-range shot. So you don't want to give that to her, but then she's fast. If you're tight on her, she can drive by you. And then they're just monsters on the boards. And then they're going to press you the whole game. So it's a style that most teams can't play. And that's a style that we like to play. They're just a little bit bigger and more athletic.
After watching the film, were there any additional things that kind of stood out to you about the way your team bounced back from the loss to UNLV?
Yeah, I think that the team was able to apply the things that we worked on and able to do them. So we worked on how we wanted the ball to move. So you saw a lot more ball movement. You saw better offense. You saw better passes inside. So, we shot our highest percentage of the year from the 2 and the 3. And that end result of doing those things, it gave us open shots inside. It gave us open shots from the 3 that are makeable shots. I think before we were taking really quick contested shots, which you're going to have a really low percentage. And we went into the game shooting 25% from the 3. So that was a 50% game, and we took 20 of them. So I think that hopefully after that success, the players can see that it works when we kind of focus and do the things we're supposed to do. And me just doing a better job of being more specific. But then, as a coach, I think when you have a more experienced team, you don't want to say, the ball has to go here, here, here before you take a shot. But I think that it worked, and we're young and a lot of new players. And I think then it's clear what the expectation is, and there isn't any gray area, so it works. It's better.
Maria has these games where, she's shooting 6 or 7, 9 of 10, 6 or 7. Are you seeing some commonalities in what she's doing offensively in those games?
I think fighting for better position, staying out of foul trouble, that's a big commonality. Not fouling, so you can stay in the game. And I think as a freshman, though, you're going to have, peaks and valleys, right? So you're going to be inconsistent sometimes. I think the thing that teams are doing to her now is they're doubling her. And because they know a lot of times she puts the ball on the floor right away. So we're working with her on not doing that. And that's kind of like in high school, you can do that. Here they put a lot of bodies around. They're making her pass out, and she was turning it over a little bit. But she's getting more experience. She's learning. Those are happening in game situations. So we're showing her on film, and she's improving on that. So now as a freshman, it's like you're supposed to learn, and you're supposed to go through those things. And she's going to be a really good player. She's in the best shape of her life. She's moving better than she ever has. She's getting better. We're working on things every day. So she's going to be a great impact player, and she's already impacting us as a freshman.
What kind of things did you work on this week? I know that there was some, even though you played really well the other day, you always, it's getting better every day.
Yeah, so worked a lot just on our fundamentals because we're still turning the ball over more than I'd like to. Some of that's because some people were out of position a little bit. So just working on the fundamentals of passing in the post, because our strength right now is inside. Continuing to work on shooting. We shot the ball better last game. We need to shoot the ball better. We will shoot the ball better because we're running better offense, and continuing to be specific in the offense. Like, we're running this to get this. We're running that to get that. We're doing this because of this. I think being specific and working on that specific thing. So not working on 10 things, working on these are 4 specific things. And I think that's really helped for people to understand. And then just trying to get people like healthier back in, and we've been working on that. We'll have a short bench, but the great thing for a player is they should be like, oh, that's great, because everybody's going to play. And you can play through some more mistakes. So if I'm a freshman or a young player, it's like you have chances. And you would have a shorter leash if you were playing behind a fifth year, a super senior, or an experienced player. So I think for our freshmen, great opportunity. For not Montea, but Montea can watch, but for Skylar, Brea, and Jada, it's like you get to get thrown into the fire, and that's going to really pay off later. I've been saying it all year. We're going to be young and have some mistakes, but it'll pay dividends later.
This year, obviously, you had to change a little bit of your teaching, right? Because it's so many new players and you're young. But in the past, you also, I remember you've done some of those like personality things where you've learned how to, when somebody else is a different type of personality,
Yeah.
how they learn. Are you still applying those things? Do you still have, like how you went back and you not only you showed film in a different way last time, but you had to show them the advanced analytics of this shot is not that efficient, and this is more. Is all of that part of the, they learn in different ways?
For sure. Well, you have to show things in different ways. But yeah, that was one of the things I did last game. And we've been doing more of that. But like, some players don't understand all those numbers. So you have to show specific things and kind of put it in layman's terms sometimes just to understand. I didn't understand that stuff when I was a kid. I didn't know how to read defense. And that's why the process is slower, like reading and counters and stuff, because it's easier to say go to point A to point B. It's harder to say, well, if they do this, do that, and work on the readings. That takes time. Like, you're seeing Jada improve on some of it, though. So, but it takes a year. It takes time in the system. That's why when you look at the systems that we have, we're much better keeping players for multiple years. Like when we went to the championship, we had that group together 3 years. And so I think building on that, understanding that this year we're going to have like bumps and bruises, and it's going to be tough at times, but knowing that the big picture and what the end result is. And the analytics we have, Kyle is really good. He's our video guy. He's really good at analytics and breaking stuff down. So trying to show them like, this is what that means. And like dumb it down, like, well, the right side this, the left side that. And it also helps us with our skill development. So we've been working a ton on shooting because, players like have finals and have all these demands. They're not getting in the gym for hours. Some are, and the majority of our team is, but some, it is really tight with their time. So I just build it in so they have time and practice. We don't need to practice 3 hours. So it might be that 30 minutes in that first block where it's just skill or free throws or shots out of our offense or just set shots just to have repetition. And that's been really helping because we're seeing the results and we're shooting the ball better. We're not going to shoot 25% for the year, hopefully.
How do you feel, I guess, about how Jade is seeing it offensively from the distribution standpoint?
I think Jade is getting better. She's getting better defensively. She's a worker. She's a dog. She's plays with heart and hustle. So she's never gonna not get better because of her mentality. So she'll never be the quickest. She'll never jump the highest. She'll never be the biggest. But she's got a big heart, and like that's how Kelsey Plum was. If you look at Kelsey Plum in college, like she couldn't guard anybody her first year. But when you work and you're determined and you have a certain mentality, you're gonna get there. And Jada has that. She's going to be a really good player. And Jada is the type of kid and player that if I said, Jada, you got to go play the 5, she'd be like, against her? She'd be like, huh? Okay. And then she'd be like, I got you. Like, she doesn't care. And that's like how Aria was. Like, she would say, okay, coach, well, I'm going to try. I might fall out. And I'd be like, okay, she's going to, I'm going to front her. She will do it. Like, I think some other players, just in general, just as this generation, not even our team, they would say, I can't do that. But like she just will do whatever it takes for the team to win, and she's a connector, and she has good energy. She's consistent with her effort and energy every day. And I always talked about that with Sam. As a coach, you want consistency. You want to see how people show up every day, and that's who they are. So good days, bad days, finals, not breaking up, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's like, what are you going to do consistently? And she's great consistently, and that's why I think she's going to be great.
Talking at this point?
Always talks. She was one of the few freshmen I've ever seen that isn't afraid to talk. Now, was she talking as much in the first couple weeks? No, because she's a freshman. You're trying to figure things out. But she has a voice. She's not afraid to talk. If there's team meetings, she will speak up. If something's wrong, she will speak up because she does the right thing. So, like, she's great. Like, she will be a leader. And she already is a leader. She's just young. But she will lead. And, I mean, she's someone that would probably one day work into a captain role. Like, I see it. You know how you see it in people? Like, that's just who she is. So I'm happy to coach her.
So you have this sort of gauntlet coming up. I mean, it's Texas.
We've had a lot of gauntlets this year. We had a gauntlet here and there, yeah.
And so, I know it's hard to schedule, and there have been this, non-conference season for you has been really odd. You usually don't have these types of gaps or even these gauntlets, like, that tournament was really hard, and then now from here, plus you have ASU, which is the rivalry mixed in, and then you have Gonzaga. What's that like?
We're throwing into the fire. We're ready. We go big or go home, PJ. No, I know. Like some of that, I look back, I'm like, I don't know why I did that. But it's very challenging getting games. It costs a lot of money. I don't like to spend money that we don't have to spend. I'm very conscious of that as a head coach and running a program. But it is what it is. And we had a chance to go in that Gonzaga tournament. It was a doubleheader. It was a good opportunity. I didn't like the day it fell on, but I didn't have any control over it, and we had to finish the schedule. And then this return, we had the opportunity to do it now. I wanted to do it 3 years ago. So that's kind of just how it fell. I know it's going to be hard, but I honestly didn't expect to have so many new players this year, too, so that's just a part of it. That's the reality, but it is what it is. I think that's just the way basketball is nowadays. But it's tough, and I think that we're tested. So that's the good thing. I think the great thing about it is that gauntlet before was 6 games in 11 days, and it was 3 in a row in the Bahamas, which was tough. But we had to face some adversity. We got punched one day, then we came back. So then we go down to UNLV. People don't know how good UNLV is. They're a tournament team. They're really good, and they just beat Oklahoma. But I think on paper, people were like, they're a good team at their home, and they got us, and they outplayed us, and they were definitely the better team that day. So learned from that. Didn't perform how we wanted to, and they beat us up, and they were great. And then, now have an opportunity to come back home and play a really good team. And then, like, how are we going to respond? Because we're going to face this every week in the Pac-12. And so the Pac-12 is really tough. So when I look at it from that standpoint, at least we're learning now versus learning 5 games in a row in the Pac-12. And I think we're going to play teams like Texas. And even though they're different, like defensively, we're going to play teams like that. And we're going to play teams like UNLV. And consistent, and ASU is a rival. Our young players are going to learn what a rival is like because they don't know what that's like yet. So at least we are going to see what it's all about before we just get punched in the face the first week in January. So from that standpoint, I'm kind of glad. Now, knowing that we were going to be so young and have limited players, I probably would have scheduled a little different. But when you find out, it's already kind of done. Like, we're already halfway done with next year. So it is what it is, and we better get some experience fast.
You're going in to play against a top 5 team. In the past, you've always said that once you get to top 5, it's a different level. Top 3, it's, that's a different level. You, as a team like this, you guys haven't played a team like that. I know last time out when you played Texas, the former players that I've talked to said you had a certain message that was the same message all the time. And are you giving that message, which is, doesn't matter if they're ranked, doesn't matter, you just go play your game, and that's it. Is that the same message you're giving them too?
Yeah, I think you don't want to get too high or too low because then it's more stress. Players have so much stress as it is and have pressure from their families, from outside influences. So you just want to approach every game the same and be consistent. I think no game's too big, no game's too little. I think you learn that now, like we learned that at UNLV. So I think that you have to approach everything the same, and we know they're good, but we know everybody's beatable. And like, every team has weaknesses. Like, what are their weaknesses? And I think you approach it like that, and you try to exploit that. The great thing is that we're at home. We're gonna have a great crowd tomorrow, so you just give it. You do your best, and like things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and you just prepare and get better. But it's a process. We always say it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. So we're in that marathon, and we're getting better, but we are improving. We're not taking steps backwards, and when we have lost or had a tough loss, we've bounced back and we've done better. So they're a really good team, and we're a good team too, and we're playing at home. So I'd rather play at home than at Texas in front of 10,000 people. I'd rather play here in front of 10,000. So I think it's going to be fun, and at the end of the day, it's great experience for our young players. You get to see what it's like to play a top 5 team. We've been there. We've been a top 5 team, and you have more pressure when you're a higher ranked team. I've been in that situation because you're expected to win, and that's hard. But I think overall, winning is hard. It's hard to put teams together. It's hard to have new players. It's hard to retain young players. It's just what basketball is, and I think this is the hard stuff is the fun stuff.
Struggling like you are from behind the arc, only shooting 25%, do you look for two opportunities in the offense to maybe try to take some of that?
Absolutely, yes. And then I think it's funny because you're open for a reason usually, so that doesn't mean you shoot. And like as a player, as a competitor, you're like, I'm open, I'm going to shoot it. But it's like, no. As a coach, it's funny. As a coach, you're like, well, that's not the best shot. Let's get this. Well, you don't have to settle for threes. If that's not your strength, you play to your strength. So our strength's inside. So we have to pound the ball inside. We have to get to the paint, and that's what we're good at. Later, we're not going to shoot 25%, but I'm surprised it's 25. It was like 19 for a while. But we're going to get better. But are we going to be a 37% three-point shooting team? We're not. That's not who we are. So you have to find ways to get points in other ways, and that's what we'll do. Like, do I want us to take 23s? Absolutely not. And if you look at a team like Texas, they don't. They take their mid-range shots. They probably take 5 threes. Like, they don't take a lot either. So you do what you do well, and that's what you work on. But, yeah, I don't want us living and dying by the three because we're not going to win games like that. We'll win games by moving the ball, running offense. Like, we don't have to play so many possessions because we don't have such a deep roster. And then we do what we do well, and we're better inside right now.
What do you, a player that we really haven't talked about much is Sally. Mm-hmm. So how have you seen her grow so far? I know that she's really active when she's out there. Her hands are all over, and especially on like the offensive boards. Like she'll get a lot of putbacks or a lot of, she'll get some rebounds that then you can turn into a positive, right?
Yeah, Sally's great. Sally's tough, one of the toughest kids on the team. She's played through some injuries. She does whatever I ask. She wants to win. She plays for us, the 2, 3, 4. She'll guard whoever. She's physical. She brings a lot. For us, she can be the X factor. She's very, very important for tomorrow and very important moving forward because we need her. She could be a starter. She can come off the bench. I like her off the bench some because she's a good scorer off the bench, and she gives us some experience with other lineups. She's smart. She's a really good passer. She's improved on her three. She's improving on finishing around the rim. But I love her game. I love what she brings, and I love coaching her. So I think that she's even going to be better as the teams get better. And she can score, and she brings us a lot. And I just love her toughness and physicality that we need in our game. So, and for her, I was teaching her a lot of positions. So we're trying to focus on a couple where she can play and be at ease because it's a different language. It's harder. But think about Sally. Last year, she missed half the year. So she hasn't played a full year in a while. So for her, I think there was COVID, and last year she was stuck in Mali with a visa situation. So now it's going to be her first time for playing out if she's in shape. If you look at her from when she got here, and from now, everybody on our team has improved. Chris Allen's done a tremendous job. If you look at our team, every single person, including coaches, we've really taken it seriously, and we've worked really hard to get everybody to these points. So Sally looks completely different than when she got here. And Brea, everybody is stronger, moves better, and just overall healthier.
Has Umar played a role in her adjustment here to Tucson?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even know till later that they grew up, like she never had mentioned that to me. Her and Umar, they grew up together, like in the same city. So they've known each other since I think they were like 5 years old. So I think he was happier than anybody that she was coming. He was happier than her because he was like, "You're gonna cook for me," and it was funny. I didn't, because she's like a good cook, so she cooks her traditional food with him. And I said, I didn't even know that until on the visit. I thought he was just flirting with her or something. I was like, "What are you doing over here?" He's like, "I've known her," and she never said anything. So that was a great moment. I was like, "You could have helped recruit her then." But yeah, so they're both happy. She hangs out with him sometimes, and it's just good to have a familiar face. But what a coincidence! Small. This basketball world is small.
Is everybody healthy?
No, that's going to be the $1 million question. No, everybody is not healthy. We'll have some people out, but that's just kind of what it's been like. And it's random stuff. I've never, like, since I've been a head coach, I think I've had like one or two major injuries ever, but not even, I never even had an ACL till this year. Because I think we do a really good job of balancing and their loads and not overworking people. And then this year, there's been like, it's random, a concussion, an ankle, or a practice where his elbow hits somebody, or someone collides. It's just been really weird stuff. And nowadays, if I say my bun's too tight, I could probably be out with a concussion. So it's just different days. It's different times than when I grew up.
So there'll be multiple people that won't play tomorrow?
No, I think, no, there won't be multiple people. We have a short bench anyways. Like Erin's still out, like working her back in. It's just some small injuries like that. But it's just kind of, it is what it is. Everybody's banged up this time of year probably. So, well, thank you. Have a good day.